Well, hi there, everybody, or nobody, or everybody, or whoever happens to be watching. Yeah, it's unusual for me to do a live, I suppose, especially on my own. Um, but I've just been so busy, and I've been wanting to make a video, and I thought to myself, well, rather than making the video and trying to check it and upload it, the easiest thing would be just to sit down, have a cup of tea, and go live. And if anyone's around, they can be around and they can join in. They can have a chat, whatever. But I thought I would just talk about a few things that's been going on, because videos have been a bit few and far between on this channel lately. It tends to be the case, though, in my job as we head towards the end of the academic year. Things can be quite busy. I've had an extremely busy day. I was supposed to have a busy evening. I was also supposed to have a lesson this evening, both of which now are not happening. So I thought, well, why not take this opportunity? I can see now nobody's watching anyway. Two people popped in and then took one look at my ugly mug and then ran away. But that doesn't matter. So yeah, I thought I would just, as I said, instead of making a video, just make it live. It's up there and ready to go. I received some post yesterday, day before yesterday, which was very nice, from Jenny. She sent me this. If you can see here. Oh, I don't know why it's. Well, that's annoying. That's annoying. I've not noticed that before. I wonder if there's a way to change it. Why it's mirrored, so you can see it's backwards there, isn't it? That's really frustrating. When I do the lives on StreamYard, it's not like that. So I don't know why that's happened, but hey ho, technology. But yes, sorry. So Jenny, a wonderful subscriber, sent this to me, and it's Penguin Book of First World War Stories, which is great because in July, BookTube at War starts off, and all these are basically short stories related to the First World War, and there's some fantastic stories in here, fantastic authors. We have people like Arthur Machen, C. Montague, Catherine Mansfield, Joseph Conrad, A.W. Wells, Arthur Conan Doyle, Somerset Maugham, John Buchan, Rudyard Kipling, John Galsworthy. So I could just go on and on. D.H. Lawrence, Hugh Walpole, Robert Graves, Muriel Spark, etc., etc. So it's kind of cool, I think, because it's a wonderful thing when BookTube at War comes or starts, to be able to dip in and out of these short stories. So I think that's wonderful. So Jenny, if you are watching, thank you. Thank you ever so much, really much appreciated. And the other thing I got, which really took a long time to come, actually, it was part of my last order from the late lamented Book Depository, and that's Journey by Moonlight by Antal Serb. And again, I apologize for the fact it's suddenly showing backwards. I think it must be the settings on the YouTube live. As I said, it doesn't happen like this on StreamYard. Oh, hi Jim, thanks. Are you saying that because of the names I read out, or you've dived into it yourself? But this, I've been really looking forward to reading it. The author has quite a sad story, actually, because he was Jewish and he happened to live in the wrong part of the world at the wrong time. And born in Budapest in 1901. And he was a university professor. He lost his teaching position, of course, due to the anti-Semitic laws. Went to a labor camp, and apparently he was beaten to death in 1945. So, and it wasn't that long, until the end of the war. So that's doubly sad. But this does look it does show the right way around, Bill. Okay, that's great. I don't know, it's showing the wrong way around on my side, so that's fine then. It doesn't do that on the other one, so that's great. Thanks for letting me know that. I don't know if anyone knows it or read it. The Trouble Begins in Venice, the first stop on Erzy and I've got to deal with the Hungarian pronunciation here. Erzy and Mihaly's honeymoon tour of Italy. Here, Erzy discovers that her new husband prefers wandering back alleys on his own to her company. The trouble picks up in Ravenna, where a hostile man zooms up on a motorcycle as the couple are sitting at an outdoor cafe. It's Janos, someone Mihaly hasn't seen for years, and he wants Mihaly to come with him in search of Ervin, their childhood friend. The trouble comes to a head when Mihaly misses the train he and Ersi were due to take to Rome. Off he goes across Italy, wandering from city to city, haunted and accosted by a strange array of figures from the troubled youth that he thought he had left behind. There are charismatic siblings, Ava and Tamas, whose bizarre amateur theatricals linked sex and death forever in his mind. Ervin, a Jew-turned-Catholic monk who was his rival for Eva's love, and again that ruffian on the motorcycle. So I think it sounds pretty wonderful, and I've been wanting to read it for a while. Hey Summer, good to see you. I keep thinking I want to click to bring the comments up. I'm not used to using this YouTube live. Oh, Jim, you have read through it. Oh, thank you. That's wonderful. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I think that'll be great fun. So as I said, unfortunately, I apologize for videos being so sporadic of late. It's just really busy, with the end of the school year and the house building or lack of house building. But today, something happened, which is a positive, of course. In this instance, the builders turned up today and took possession of the land. So I signed that over to them for the duration of the build. They unloaded some building materials, which is good, and they're due to build or set the foundation on Monday. But it was actually really nice because the project manager speaks excellent English, which of course I didn't expect. So that's really nice. And then one of the young lads, who I guess is going to be doing the building, he was unloading some of the equipment and stuff they'll need for Monday. And he came up to me and said, "Excuse me, can I ask you a question?" He said it in Czech, And I was like, yeah, sure. And he says, "I think you used to teach me about 7 or 8 years ago in a school in the town I live in now." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And he said the school, and I said, yeah, that's right, that's me. I don't know how I feel about the fact he asked me in Czech rather than English. I don't know, perhaps that I didn't do my job very well. But no, but that's really cool though. You find out one of the builders, is actually someone known to you and someone you taught at school. So that's kind of fun. Yeah, thanks, Summer. That's really kind of you. It's been stressing me out because it's been 2 years. It's coming up to 2 years since the whole process started. It's probably more actually. Obviously COVID slowed things down again a lot. Economic problems also didn't help. So Aaron, no, luckily I didn't give him detention. I didn't have that kind of power. I'm not sure they'll listen to me anyway. And we don't have it actually here. I have to say what can I say? Teachers often feel powerless, I think, in England even, and here we don't have much recourse in terms of discipline. I think the worst kind of thing they can get is a Ředitelský duty, I think it's called, which is like a letter from the headmaster, which kind of goes on their record. But there's no detention or anything like that. Sadly, well, I say sadly, but then of course it can be bad for the teachers as well, right? Because they have to give up. The teachers have to give up their free time to carry out detention. But it's I have to say that generally the children are really, really well behaved, and it's such a small school. I mean, it really is a village school, and there's 170 odd students, and it sounds cliche, but it is like a family, really. We spend so much time together, which is really nice. So. And of course, a few of them will be my new neighbors. So I have to keep in good with them as well. So yeah, hopefully, as I say, everything will go off without a hitch on Monday. I was able to secure myself a building inspector, which is nice, which is somebody who's known to me as well. So that makes it easier to trust in the process that they'll keep a lookout. I suppose I should talk a little bit about books. I mean, there's no point in me talking about what I've read because I'll do that tomorrow with Sean on the Friday Reads Live. I can talk a little bit, I suppose, about what I'm reading, and then maybe not the same people watch watching today as we'll watch tomorrow. But I'm reading The Phantom of the Opera. I'm reading it with Summer, who's here in the comments from Sterling Reads, as well as Vin from Revenant Reads and Sean D. Standfast. And I've gone blank. And others, I guess, and others. Why have I gone blank? That is bizarre, isn't it? It isn't just those two. Who is it? Hang on. I'm sure someone's busy typing away to tell me. It is those three. Okay, yeah. So there we go. I am, yeah. But it's good, I have to say, and I like the Penguin Classics cover, because I didn't realize that the picture they used for the cover here is actually taken from the first edition of the novel. They show it on the back there, if you can see. I don't know. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, it's kind of fun. I don't know if you've read it. Let me know if you have. It is it's surprising. I mean, it's quite funny. It's ever so over dramatic, melodramatic. You know, and the characters are, well, assholes, excuse me. Not very nice and very annoying, like a lot of the ones I've come across in French literature. But yeah, I like it, and I think the melodrama and whatever is very. I'm hoping that Gaston Leroux is doing it because, you know, opera itself is often very over dramatic and things like that, and I'm hoping that's part of the reason he's done that. I mentioned this in the chat earlier on today, anyway. But it's very good, and I think you know, if you haven't read it and you like, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's, what is it? It says it's like a mix of gothic horror and tragic romance. I mean, yeah, it's not particularly horror-ish, I suppose. I mean, well, I'm saying that though, there are moments where I'm starting to wonder, and I have to ask perhaps Brandy from the Booklectic, or even Sean actually, and Summer, if you're there, you can. Oh, Jenny, good to see you. Thanks. I didn't see the message earlier. I just saw the one from Aaron. Well, I did thank you for the book, so thank you ever so much for that. Much appreciated. But Summer, I don't know, you might not have got to it yet, but there's a bit where he talks about going back to his coffin, and I wonder if there's something, you know, they call him the Phantom or the Ghost and this kind of stuff, but I wonder if there's something of the undead, or if he's going down the vampiric route with the Phantom, whose name, Summer, if you don't want to know, close your ears now, but his name is Eric, which is not exactly instilling fear into, you know, hey, I'm Eric, the Phantom of the Opera. And there's kind of cool stuff where he writes notes and stuff to the opera directors, and he signs it, you know, the Phantom of the Opera, or the Phantom of the O, or eventually the P of the O, and stuff like that. So it's kind of good fun. I'm enjoying it a lot, actually. It's not one I've seen a huge. I've not seen a lot of people talk about it on BookTube, but I'm sure probably a lot of people have read it. And I don't think there's much of his work on you know, available in you know, still being published today, probably apart from this one. I do have his Delphi complete works, but of course they're always made up of public domain translations, which can be a bit hit or miss. The nice thing about this edition does give you a good bibliography of works, you know, further reading and things like that. And excuse me, Gaston Leroux did write a few mystery novels. I think the first one in that is perhaps the Mystery of the Yellow Room, or at least that might be one of his more famous detective works. So that could be kind of fun. And there is a book here I'd like to get, actually, but I would have to get it secondhand. It's not being what do you call it, published anymore, and it's called The Bedside Companion to Gaston Leroux, and that seems like it's going to be good fun. Yeah, Jenny, take care. Thanks for popping in, and yes, I'll be with Sean tomorrow on this channel, actually, this week. So yeah, nice of you to pop in. So Um, yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know, Summer, because as I say, yeah, he could be an energy vampire, like whatever his name is, Colin Robinson. But you know, the fact he's kind of talks about like sleeping in his coffin did make me think of something of the undead about him there. So yeah, but yeah, that's the Phantom of the Opera. And I've neglected a little bit, but because I've read quite a few of the stories out of it already, I've neglected a little bit the complete westerns of Elmore Leonard. But you know, I did read the first five, I think, at the start of the week, and then there's a good chunk of like 7 or 8 of them which appear in the 320 humor and other stories which I read last year, and then I will just kind of carry on through the month with this. And um, Criminoli is hosting a reading of this really on his Discord channel, and I'm kind of reading it with him and Alan as well from Big Hard Books and Classics, and I think a few other people have joined in through Discord. But Elmore Leonard is great. I do really enjoy his style of making writing these westerns. But speaking of westerns, I'm doing a buddy read with Shelley Swearingen. It's our second buddy read after we finished last week. We finished The Daughter of Time by Josephine Tey, which was really fantastic. It says on the back that probably the greatest was it the best mystery of all time or something like that. But I think that's a play on words by the fact it's to do with a historical mystery, so about the princes in the tower. But that was great fun, and it's a really little book, and if you want something to just kind of lose yourself in for a couple of hours, then yeah, have a good historical mystery. The Daughter of Time by Josephine Tey. But the big highlight this week, really big highlight this week, I have to say, is Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. I mean, it's one of those where everybody goes on and on and on and on saying, "Oh, it's the best Western ever written. It's so great," or "It's wonderful." And of course, you watch it, and I'm sure a lot of you do it when you're watching people talking about stuff all the time, going, how great it is and how wonderful it is, and you're thinking, yeah, sure, or whatever, yeah, okay, well, that remains to be seen until I pick it up. But I have to say, so far, it is awesome. It is, awesome Dove. Yeah, a few people said that it's a bit slow to get going, but I don't think so. I think you jump straight in to their lives, and you really jump in their lives. You feel like you're one of the gang, really. I'm actually thinking about these people when I'm waking up in the mornings and wondering what's happening. And Shelley and I, because we've got other things to read, we set ourselves, I took a leaf out of the buddy reads I do with Sonia, because we usually stick to 30 pages per day, rounded up to the nearest chapter. And I said to Shelley, let's try and do it like that, because it's 800 and something pages across the month. It works out to about 31, 32 pages a day to get through it. But the problem is we're both really into it, to the point where it's like, well, we don't really we want to carry on all the other stuff we're reading, but it is just so good. I mean, it really is. And the characters are great. It's funny. I love the language, the language that he uses. I'm not too keen. I don't know why I'm not so keen on the word whore. I don't know how, like, it's really a big, whether it was really often used in that way, of course, in the West. But then he does give us an alternative, which is a sporting woman, I think, and I kind of enjoy that. And the characters are all fantastic. You come to, yeah, I really like Gus. He's probably my favorite. I think I see more of myself in him in some ways. Well, I'm just talking away like him now, I suppose. And the two pigs as well. I really hope the pigs survive. They've really got personality. I'll be a bit gutted if anything happens to them. I've neglected the comments. Well, there aren't a huge number of them. So, Eric does sound like an energy, but it does, doesn't it? Eric and Colin Robinson. Sterling, Summer, Lonesome Dove, I think Comanche Moon might be. Well, I haven't got there yet. So, and I'm definitely going to carry on. I need to get the rest, of course. I'm very annoyed, though, because actually, Summer, you sent me Dead Man's Walk, didn't you? and that was the same cover style as this, and obviously this one. And then when I looked up to get the others, they're all kind of different covers, and I can't seem to get this style anymore. It's like so annoying, you know. I want them all to kind of look the same, and it's like, oh no. What have we got here? Steve, still haven't read Lonesome Dove. I'm reading The Virginian by Owen Wister for the first time. Don't know that, Steve, but if you haven't read Lonesome Dove, I mean, I'm only, 200 pages into it or something, but it's bloody awesome. It's really good. So, you know, I don't know how big The Virginian is, but I would, you know, line up Lonesome Dove. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Aaron, they're great characters to hang out. Yeah, they are really great characters to hang out with. I really want to hang out with them for sure. Oh, okay. So you've only read Lonesome Dove, then, Aaron, have you? Okay. Summer, yeah, Dead Man's Walk is from this. Yeah. No, I did gather that, but I was trying to remember because is it Newt's mum was a sporting woman, I believe. They mention her, and I'm wondering, is she's not the big prostitute from Dead Man's Walk, is she? No, the one who eats the turtle at the beginning. I can't remember her name. She had a great name in that, but yeah. Oh, okay. How does that compare, Bill? Is that the one immediately after Lonesome Dove then, or the one that kind of came? Okay, yeah, Matilda. Yeah, wonderful. Okay. Um, Terms of endearment. Okay. That's. Sorry, I don't know how loud that came across there. I got excited. Terms of endearment. The film is based off a Larry McMurtry book. Is it? I didn't know that. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, he's written quite a lot because he did, according to the back of this, he did co-author Brokeback Mountain, which I haven't seen. So yeah, and sadly though, you know, because obviously the book is probably a little bit a few years ago. It does say he lives in Archer City, Texas. Of course, he doesn't, does he? He died. Was it maybe 2 or 3 years ago now? So yeah, maybe 2 years ago. I think I was already on BookTube. Yes, the Last Picture Show. That's right. Some of the Streets of Laredo is so different, but I loved it too. It complete. Oh, okay, so it's the last one in the series. I didn't realize they filmed them all though. They've all been either films or miniseries. I remember very briefly the Lonesome Dove series. I think it was probably around 1987, 88. I can't remember exactly. But I was always convinced Kenny Rogers was in it until I realized it was Tommy Lee Jones. But I suppose, you know, given the way he looks, he decks himself out in that is kind of interesting. And it's actually on YouTube, Lonesome Dove, the series. I haven't watched it yet because I don't really want it to spoil the book. And what I remember as a child is so little that I just, you know, that hasn't had any impact, of course, on my reading of it. To the point where I don't picture the actors as the characters at all. Bill, maybe more violence in Streets of Laredo. Okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, there's such wonderful bits of humor in it, though. I have to say, I mean, the whole meeting and stuff with the Irishman cracked me up, and you know, with the stealing of the horses from Mexico, and then, you know, they run into a bunch of Mexicans who are stealing horses and, you know, taking them into Mexico from Texas. Yeah, it's just it's really good. It's great humor. Yeah, so there we have it. I don't know whether I should just rabbit on and on for a little bit longer. I mean, maybe I can. I mean, why not? Enjoying my cup of tea, and I'm on a bit of a high after the whole thing with the house. So, Bill, lots about how terrible it was to be a woman in 1890s Texas. Yeah. I don't know. It was probably worse to be a woman in 1890s rural Mexico or somewhere, though, maybe. Or to be honest, I think it's just terrible to be a woman pre 2023. I don't know. It does seem like it's tough. Like, I remember reading The Five at the end of last year. I've forgotten the Haley. Rubenhold is the author, and it's about the five victims, 4/5 victims of Jack the Ripper, and it goes into their lives as much as the author's able to do so. And my goodness, was it horrible? Just horrible to be poor, but so much more horrible to be a poor woman. Unbelievably so. It was a real tearjerker. I have to say it was. Someone did Elvis have a happy birthday? Yeah, I think he did. I mean, sadly, it was on Tuesday, and it was kind of a long day at work for me. And I got back about 4 o'clock, and then at 7 o'clock I had another lesson, so we had 3 hours together. But I was able to cook him some organic turkey, which he loves, and gave him well, I gave him a present in the morning before I went out, and then I gave him well, when I got back, which he's already um, not destroyed, but he's already damaged it. But they're really nice. They might not look the nicest, but they're like what do you call them? Environmentally friendly dog toys. You can see here they look like this. They're made of this kind of, I don't know, what is it? Not suede, but something a bit rough, like that felt, maybe like a rough felt, and certainly had like felt ears and eyes. But he's ripped off the eyes already, and he's ripped out because it was like a, what's it on there. But otherwise, the main integrity of the thing is intact. And the reason I bought one similar, and it's held up very well because he can destroy a toy within minutes of getting it. So we have loads of toys that have lasted him, and others that I've ended up having to throw away. So, but yeah, I can't remember the name of this company, but I was happy by the fact that even the packaging was like recycled cardboard, and instead of like those plastic things they put on to keep it to the cardboard, they actually tied it with some environmentally friendly rope or thick string, I suppose. So I'm sure you're all absolutely fascinated by that. I'm not sponsored by this company, whoever they are, but yeah, maybe I'll if you're interested, let me know and I'll find out the name of them, because I'm sure a lot of environmentally aware people might be inclined to get some. Oh well, it's called Tommy, maybe Tommi. You can see down there. Aaron, it seems it was very easy. Yeah, it was very easy to end up homeless, I think. I mean, there was no safety net at all. I mean, you could be doing very well. Like, I forget the name of which one was it? Maybe it was Catherine Eddowes, maybe. I think it was from a family that wasn't that poorly off. I mean, I think she was the one who moved down from the Midlands of England to London, and she was able to get a very good education, especially for a girl at the time. And her father had a reasonably, still in the working class, but reasonably paid job and stuff like that. But it took one thing, like a death, and then one parent goes, another parent goes, and then they're just like completely thrown into desperate poverty. And yeah, it's horrible. But it kind of blows my mind though, because let me think. So when I was 7, I knew my great grandmother. And she was born 1887. Yeah, so she died at 99 in 1987, and she would have she was 1 year old while Jack the Ripper was stalking the streets of London. And I can remember her. That's kind of, and I'm sure any people older than me, if you're a decade, 2 decades older than me, you probably remember a few people born in the 19th century as well. And that's kind of weird that we can be sitting here in 2023 and remember some people born, at the end of the 1800s. So yeah. Steve, the 5 is in your to read pile. Yeah, well, it's well worth it. It's well worth it. It's very emotional, but it's very interesting. Doesn't fixate or focus on the crimes. It really is about the lives of the women, and it's very interesting social history. Very interesting social history of late Victorian London, especially. So it's well worth it. Well worth it. Summer, this month my Mayfair turns 5. Oh, well, early happy birthday to her. Oh, yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. Yeah, so that's what's that now? Summer, 8 cats, is it? It's a good round number, a lucky number in some cultures, of course. So yeah, but no, Steve, definitely the 5 is well worth your time and effort to read, and it's a quick read. What's that face for there, Summer? Did I say something wrong? I'm now confused. Oh well. um, yeah, it's actually quite hard to do these lives alone. I'm because when I take a breath or a pause, there's Sean to wakes himself up and then he's on, right? And if I stop talking, probably you'll leave. So quite rightly, I mean, I wouldn't hang around if I stopped talking, and I probably wouldn't be hanging around now as I'm just talking a load of nonsense to keep it going while I'm trying to think of something to say. So, um, but yeah, I don't know who's. Yeah, well, eight is a houseful. It's a large number of cats. That I mean, I don't know when the what the criteria is to be officially a crazy cat lady, but you're probably in the junior leagues already, someone with that amount. I mean, probably when you get into double figures, uh, you know, you might qualify as a crazy cat lady. So, what about everybody else? I mean, are you enjoying what you're reading at the moment? Are you partaking in any reading events? I mean, some of you have mentioned that you are reading westerns for June on the Range. Bill's reading Streets of Laredo. Um, was it Steve's reading the Virginian? Anyone else taking part in that, or is anyone else thinking of joining in BookTube at War next month? I think that's going to be great fun. I mean, I have to say, I was a little bit. I mean, but I can keep it between us. I was a little bit disappointed with my co-hosts when they allowed nonfiction to be put into that, because I don't know, I do feel that they can be kind of separate things to me. Like, nonfiction books about war are history. It can be part of historathon. I think war literature is something different, and I think it would have been cool to to dedicate that event only to fiction, because there's so much nonfiction of war. There's so much fiction as well, but I just think it would have been kind of cool to leave it to that. Aaron, you're reading Western, Star Trek, and history, all the events. Well, there you go. You see, those are all the events. I've been a bit quiet on Historathon at the moment. To be honest, I probably took on too much. You probably noticed as well that the S&M book club has died a death. Probably, I was rubbish. Where we looked, Steve and I tried to get people into travel literature, and we had some great choices. And I might revive it in the summer, because my video output should increase from July. I have 2 months off, and though I plan, of course, to have to at least travel up to the mountains once a week to check on the building progress, which I hope will be okay and go well. I mean, it should take 9 months from start to finish. It's one of these buildings where I'm supposed to pay like a set price, and they're supposed to do it. However, in the contract, the only way the price would increase was if there was like crazy increase in inflation, and of course that happened. So that's great. Aaron, I did read A Time of Gifts and Go on Holiday. So, oh well, A Time of Gifts is great anyway. I mean, travel writing, travel books are such, they are underrepresented on BookTube, and perhaps, as I say, I can get my arse in gear in the summer and get Steve to maybe relaunch it, because there are some wonderful, wonderful choices. I mean, Eric Newby is great fun to read. Bruce Chatwin, I wanted to get out there as well, and a few others. So, Steve, my PhD was on World War II literature. A guy named Dan Billany from Hull, who wrote World War II novels. The Trap is the best. Well, that's wonderful. Okay, thanks. I'll check that out. Summer, looking forward to videos on your house channel. Yeah, well, you see, that's the thing. I wanted to launch the channel, but then, of course, didn't really have anything to put on it. I mean, nobody wants to watch me complaining, you know, 3 times a week in videos that nothing's happening. But you know, from Monday it should be happening. So there should be some action and some movement on that channel. And I want to document it as much as possible. It's a shame that I can't really document it every day because I'm not going to be there. And you know, it's because I don't drive. It's not the easiest. I mean, it is easy, but when it's not school time, the bus schedule and stuff is reduced, so I can't really you know, go there every day. But I think be able to you know, once September comes, we should see some more kind of movement on that, which would be great. What have we got here? Aaron, I recommend her private school. Yes, I know that, and I can't. Was that? Is it the same? Who's the author of that? I know that one. Yeah. I can't remember. But I have a few lined up. I won't say now probably because I'll have to make a TBR video at some point. But I do have a few things lined up for Frederick Manning. That's right. Thank you, Aaron. But lined up for BookTube at War. A few children's books actually. I think I showed when I had a haul, The Silver Sword by Ian Sorellia, which brings back, you know, memories of childhood for me. And I haven't read it in age. In fact, I never read it. I had it read to me. It was a class read when I was like 7, I suppose, 8. So we're talking 87, 88 at school. And yeah, it was, it just stuck with me. So when I thought about this and I looked through this anthology I had, and they had a part of it reproduced in that. And I thought, yeah, okay, I'm going to get hold of a copy of that. You know, it's a small book, meant for kids, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But again, with all these events, it's like the Westerns. There's so much to choose from, you know, and you just don't know where to begin. And you can see I'm one of those people whose eyes are often bigger than their stomachs in terms of, like, you know, being quite greedy for things. And I'm greedy for books too, you know, and I always take on more than I can really handle. And you know, I keep looking over there because I have a big pile. Got these piles behind me which I haven't been able to sort out. I haven't got space really yet to put them in books. So I apologize for how ramshackle it looks behind me there. But yeah, just so many wonderful things to read. And it's like you get in this. I'm sure some of you are like this as well. You're like, oh, I want to read all the books. I want to read them all. And whereas in reality, you should just step back, take a breath, and say, okay, I'm going to read this now, this then, and whatever. But I'm always in a hurry to try and read everything, you know. Yeah. So, but I think I've got some good ones lined up. And of course, in August, we will be doing August of Adventure again this year. I don't know how many of you watching now took part, but it was great fun. I mean, of the events I did last year, my favorite was Student on the Range, and then August Adventure, which Sean and I co-hosted. I mean, the problem with that is, of course, it's on at the same time as Garbage August or Garb August, which everybody seems to be into. And yeah, I can understand. It seems like it's a bit of fun, but it's just, you know, I don't think I could spend a month reading Garbage. That's the problem. You know, there's so many wonderful things to read. Well, Aaron, you know, hold that thought. Let's say, just keep your eye out, perhaps in the next week or so. Let's say it hasn't been neglected, you know, and it could very well be coming to you on a YouTube channel near you very soon. And if it was to be done, I will not be alone this year in doing it. So I decided, if it was to be done, it will be you know, have a couple of. I'll build up a little dream team to help me host it. So I'm trying not to give it away. Of course, I've already given it away, but you know, just wait and see. Because also we've got the Rugby World Cup as well, which would be fun to do because you get different countries, but I don't think many people are that interested in rugby, sadly. So probably I won't do that, maybe, because it does take a lot of time, and it's the thing with the World Cup reading events as well. They did take a lot of time to do, especially when it was only me. But hopefully with a good team, it will work out well if it happens. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, it's 5:30 here in the Czech Republic, and it's been unseasonably hot, and it's been hot for weeks. We did have a bit of rain this week, thankfully, because we needed it. But I don't know about everybody else. Has it been like, you know, environmentally worryingly hot? Because I can't tell you. It's literally. I feel like there hasn't been much of a spring. It's like we jumped out of winter, had maybe a week, 2 weeks of spring, and then we've been into summer, and it's just it's I got so sunburned. When was it? 2 weeks ago. I was at the castle here in town, as you do, and they have a food festival, and it was nice. It was funny though because it was like the third annual food festival. The first one was 5 years ago, but then of course there was COVID and whatever, so that put paid to that for a while. But I was sitting outside and I thought, well, it's a nice spring day. It was a bit cool in the morning, and sitting on these benches, and then I went home to walk Elvis at 2:30. I'd been there since 10, about 2:30, and I kind of thought, wow, I'm bloody hot, actually. I can feel it. And then I was sunburned. I took off my glasses and I had like the whole kind of panda eyes going on. And then I spent the whole of like Saturday night, Sunday, running my arms, basting them with water, trying to kind of rehydrate. And I do suffer, unfortunately, from like psoriasis. I don't know if you can see it there, the red here. And it was horrific after the sunburn. It really brought it out. It's becoming like a medical channel now as well. Take a leaf out of Mr. Standfast's book. Perhaps it was the long COVID. No, well, actually, saying that though, it did get worse around the time COVID started, but it was horrific with the sunburn, and then it started like really peeling off, and it was peeling off my face as well. But then I just, kind of moisturized it, and it's all right. So, I mean, you can still see like the redness of it, but believe me, it's much, much better. What's been going on here? So, Steve in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, dealing with outlook. Yeah, I saw that, and I saw like it's so bad in Canada. It's actually affecting the air quality of New York City, isn't it? And people are seeing like the haze and stuff like that. It's horrific. Um, so one is out now, and the other has stopped spreading. Well, that's something. It's terrifying. These things really, really. Summer is cold in the morning, hot late afternoon, but honestly, can't complain living in Ohio. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like I doubt you guys do in Canada, but like a lot of Americans have air conditioning now. I mean, I don't think you do, summer, do you? But or do you? I mean, you might do, but a lot of you guys have inbuilt air conditioning, which is kind of good. But then, of course, isn't good for the environment, I suppose. That used to be a thing in Hong Kong. I lived in Hong Kong for a few years, and the buildings would be tightly packed together, and there'd be so many air conditioning units, and you walk into the buildings, it'd be freezing. You walk out, and it was hot. It was like you just were wet, from head to toe just by walking out. And then if you walked through the alleyways where the back of the air conditioning units were, it was just unbearable because of course they're creating and making a lot of heat and stuff, and it was like horrific. Bill, we've been breathing smoke surrounded by forest fires. Yeah, it's horrible. Aaron, it's starting to hit 25 Celsius here this weekend, but also thunderstorms. Yeah, typical England. Well, yeah, but the thunderstorms can bring a break, can't they? In the that's the thing that I can't stand is the humidity. I can deal with the more dry heat, but when it gets humid, it's just Because I grew up in Bermuda, and it was humid as hell in the summer, like like awful. Things just rotted away. You could just be outside reading a book, and it could almost disintegrate in your hands in August. Yeah, horrific. Um, So my mum does downstairs, but not in the upstairs where you live. I thought you were going to say you're a fan of fans, but you're a fan of open windows. Yeah, but well, I suppose you probably got fly screens or something, no, to stop the cats from escaping. But yeah, because I was thinking about with the house build, should I have air conditioning put in? But when I compared the cost, of course, and the fact that I'm probably only going to use it 2 weeks out of the year, maybe because it's in the mountains, so of course, being higher up, it's also a bit cooler. And yeah, hopefully, I'm not going to regret that decision. But I can get a few fans, of course, which won't be a big problem. Hello, hello, you. Have you just gone up? Here, we're talking about you. Do you want your elephant? Elvis. Oh, there we go. Hannah, I'm in Canada, Vancouver Island. The weather this year is unseasonably cool so far. Aha. Well, yeah, but I'm guessing then on the other side, eastern Canada with the forest fires, it's got to be probably brought about because it's hot and dry, right? So that's really odd. But I suppose Canada's so huge, it's not that surprising that you would have two different, weather systems, of course, across it. You've got screens, then some of that's good. That's good. So yeah, well, Elvis has gotten up now, so I suppose he probably wants his dins. Do you want your dinner? Do you want your dinner? I can't move. I got these wood floors, and I sit in a wheelie chair. When I've got socks on, I can't get a grip, so I feel like I can't move around. So you want to come up? You say hello to everybody. Hello, hello, everybody. Of course, he's someone who suffers, with the heat for sure. I can't imagine what it's like. I mean, I would try and have him cut, but he just absolutely hates to be touched by anything where scissors are involved and stuff. I mean, I managed to do it myself a bit in certain areas, but yeah, you are a fusspot, aren't you? Definitely, you have your own foibles. Elvis and his foibles. Bill's in Alberta, so it was a hot May. Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do, right, Elvis? Yeah, yeah. And here I have to say it can sometimes be pretty harsh because I'm not in a big city. I'm in a town of like 10,000 people, but I'm on Main Street, if you like, and they're not particularly wide streets, and there's buildings opposite, and it's just a terrible layout of my flat because my front windows face east and they get cooked up. The front rooms, everything get cooked up in the morning, and the back window in the kitchen there faces west, and it heats up at dinner time. It's horrific. And then because I live opposite like a 5-star hotel, and it's got all these windows out front, and of course, the sun setting there in the west hits those windows and then starts cooking this side again anyway. So yeah, I don't know why I'm complaining. There's worse things going on. But yeah, I think I'll wrap it up. But I'm very, very appreciative. I can't believe I've had 15, 16 people pop in. That's wonderful. I mean, I'm very lucky. I suppose probably just a bit of background noise for some of you while you're working, but still, I'm very pleased to have at least provided that small service. And yeah, I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Thursday. I cannot believe it's Friday again already. I mean, I've got what have I got? 3 weeks, I suppose. 3 weeks of school left. Yeah, 3 weeks of school, and then 2 months summer holidays. Woo, 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 woo. But I'm not doing anything or going anywhere, as I say, because building a house costs money, and I can't spend any money. And I've even had to, now start thinking it's the time to cut back on book buying, and now's the time to take up a 500 book challenge. Because I'm a bit nervous because there's going to be like a period where I'm going to have to pay rent here and start repaying the mortgage, right? So there's going to be like a month or so or two where that's going to happen, and it's going to be an interesting challenge. But see, I've gone off on one again. I can't remember what I was saying. I was leaving, wasn't I? Yeah, I'm going. So thank you all so much. It's been wonderful to interact with you, and I might do this again. Actually, it's kind of fun to just do little catch up video rather than recording it and having to upload it. So it's been kind of fun just to touch base. Maybe I'll make this tea time live. Well, I don't want to say regular. Nothing's regular at the moment on this channel, but a semi-regular event, or at least perhaps throughout the summer. You'll certainly be seeing more of me, which I'm sure you're all thrilled about. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your days wherever you are. Stay safe, of course, if you happen to be in any of those places that are suffering from these, forest fires or floods or whatever else. And and please come back tomorrow if you're free. A bit later tomorrow, I'll be live for the Friday Reads with Sean D. Stanfast. So take care, everybody. All the best. Bye-bye.